There are moments in life when a woman finds herself standing alone, not because it is her preference, but because her journey demands a unique kind of strength, one that is cultivated not in the presence of crowds, but in the quietness of solitude. Society frequently pressures us to pursue validation through friendships and popularity, making us believe that our worth is defined by the number of people in our lives or the approval we receive from them. However, a woman who chooses to walk alone discovers her true worth from within herself and through God, rather than basing it on the opinions or support of those around her. In Psalm 46, verse 5, we read, "God is within her. She will not fall. God will help her at break of day." This scripture serves as a reminder that genuine strength stems from God's presence dwelling within her. Because of Him, she remains unshaken, even when others falter or drift away. She gains the ability to remain steadfast and unshaken, even in moments when others around her falter or drift away. Today, we are going to delve into the inspiring and remarkable qualities that define a woman who chooses to walk alone. But before we proceed further, make sure to give this video a thumbs up to help us continue spreading these meaningful and uplifting messages. Let's dive right in. There is something truly extraordinary and rare about the strength that emerges from walking alone, particularly for a woman who embraces her independence. Independence and self-sufficiency are not traits that simply materialize overnight. These qualities are gradually shaped and strengthened over the course of time through life's challenges, personal trials, and, quite often, through periods of intentional solitude. A woman who chooses to stand on her own feet without needing the approval of others isn't just surviving, she's thriving. Her strength comes not from those around her, but from within. The world we live in often elevates companionship and togetherness to a pedestal, promoting the idea that your value is somehow tied to the number of people you have around you or the frequency of their presence by your side. However, a woman who treads her path alone has uncovered a profound truth. Authentic power and strength are found in the art of self-reliance and personal empowerment. She understands that her sense of purpose and her direction in life are not dependent on the presence of a crowd or a tribe to validate her choices or decisions. Rather than relying on others, she has cultivated the wisdom to lean wholeheartedly on God, trusting that He alone is the true source of the strength and guidance she requires. Her self-sufficiency does not stem from a desire to reject relationships. Instead, it arises from a deep understanding that her identity and worth are not dictated or shaped by the connections she has with others. She knows that she doesn't need friends or validation to know her worth, because her worth is something that is defined by God. As we are reminded in Psalm 46, verse 5, God is within her. She will not fall. God will help her at break of day. Within the profound truth of this verse lies the essence of her strength. She doesn't place her reliance on the fleeting support or offerings that others might provide her. Instead, her trust is firmly placed in what God has already instilled deep within her soul, an unshakable foundation of strength, resilience, and faith. During times of difficulty or challenge, she doesn't instinctively turn to others seeking answers, guidance, or emotional support to overcome what lies ahead. Instead, she takes a moment to look inward, placing her trust in her instincts, drawing from her inner reservoir of resilience, and relying on the lessons she has gathered through her life experiences. Over the course of her journey, she has carefully and intentionally built this strength within herself, creating a unique foundation of character and resilience that truly sets her apart from others. She does not allow herself to crumble or lose composure when individuals exit her life, or when the circumstances around her grow increasingly challenging and uncertain. Instead, she taps into a deep well of resilience. She has come to the profound realization that, apart from God, the only person she can fully rely on is herself.
This awareness fills her with an unshakable sense of confidence and self-assurance that remains intact in any situation. This type of resilience goes beyond merely enduring difficulties. It is about flourishing and growing stronger through challenges. She has developed the ability to move through life independently, no longer feeling the constant need for validation or approval from those around her. She confidently makes her own choices, molds her life in a way that reflects her priorities, and firmly upholds her personal beliefs, values, and vision for the future.
Choosing to walk alone demands bravery, yet it simultaneously provides her with an incredible sense of freedom and independence. It takes little effort to follow the crowd, to get carried away by the current of what everyone else is pursuing or focusing on. However, a woman who is truly self-sufficient prioritizes what is best for her own growth and well-being over what might be convenient or simple. Her deep self-awareness and unshakable confidence empower her to make decisions that resonate with her authentic self, even when those decisions lead her to walk a solitary and less traveled path. Through this independence, she discovers a profound and unique strength, one that remains unwavering and unshaken, regardless of whether she is surrounded by others or standing alone. Her inner strength continues to flourish within the space of her solitude, creating a steady and enduring power that remains unyielding no matter who enters or exits her life. For a woman of this caliber, solitude is far from being an empty void or a lonely experience. Instead, it becomes a wellspring of empowerment and personal renewal. It gives her the opportunity to center her attention on herself, her unique purpose, and her deep and personal journey with God. Take a moment to type, "I walk with God," in the comments section. By doing so, you boldly declare that He is the solid and unshakable foundation upon which your life is built. Consider the story of Ruth, who stood alone in the face of loss after her husband passed away. She made the brave decision to leave her homeland and remain faithfully by Naomi's side. Ruth journeyed down a path filled with solitude and surrounded by uncertainty. Despite this, her strength never wavered because it was firmly grounded in her unwavering loyalty, her steadfast determination, and her deep trust in God. Similarly, Naomi serves as an example of a woman who treasures her independence. She understands clearly that walking alone is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to her resilience. This independence makes her stronger and more self-reliant. It fills her with a profound sense of purpose that exists independently of external validation or approval. She is fully aware that when God resides within her, she will not fall or fail. Her strength is drawn entirely from Him, and that assurance gives her the confidence to persevere. Solitude creates the perfect environment for her to pause and reflect on her journey. It offers her the opportunity to grow and to tune her heart to hear the gentle voice of God. In the stillness of her solitude, she comes to the life-changing realization that her worth and her strength are precious gifts. She understands that these gifts come from God alone. In a world where people are often judged based on the company they keep, a woman who chooses to walk alone has discovered something rare. It is a truth that holds immense power and value in her life. She understands her value. Her worth is not measured by the number of friends she has, her level of popularity, or how often others reach out to her. She has uncovered her worth from a profound place within herself. It remains steady and unshaken by the opinions or approval of others. Society frequently suggests that our sense of importance depends on others validating us. However, a woman who truly understands her worth recognizes that her value is not defined by anyone else. She has discovered that her worth is rooted in her relationship with God and is defined by what He says about her. In 1 Peter 2:9, we are given a beautiful reminder, "But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession." This scripture serves as her cornerstone, constantly affirming that she is cherished in the eyes of God. The opinions of others become irrelevant when she understands that she is chosen, deeply valued, and unconditionally loved by her Creator. This deep understanding of her self-worth liberates her from the need to conform or seek approval simply to feel accepted by others. She no longer seeks validation from those who fail to genuinely understand or recognize her worth. Instead, she has learned to shape her identity through her personal values, her unwavering faith, and the distinct purpose God has given her. This level of confidence empowers her to live with authenticity, free from the pressure to prove her worth to anyone. For a woman who understands her worth, relationships are never about filling an emptiness or seeking validation. She prioritizes quality over quantity, recognizing that genuine friendships are uncommon and require time to cultivate. She practices patience, choosing to wait for relationships that are deeply meaningful, encouraging, and edifying. She prefers to walk alone rather than compromise by surrounding herself with individuals who do not share her values. A woman who understands her worth is unafraid of solitude, as her value is not determined by the number of people in her life. She knows that her true identity is firmly grounded in God's love, rather than being tied to the fleeting approval of society. This way of thinking provides her with a profound sense of inner calm and contentment. She does not hastily enter into relationships or hold on to people out of a sense of insecurity. She possesses the insight to discern when a relationship ceases to be healthy or supportive, and she has the courage to walk away without hesitation. Letting go does not frighten her, because she understands that her worth remains unaltered, regardless of who chooses to stay or leave. Her worth is unwavering, firmly rooted in her identity as a cherished child of God. By recognizing her own value, she establishes clear and healthy boundaries. She refuses to sacrifice her peace or compromise her integrity merely to gain acceptance or fit in with others. She understands her worth, which makes her intentional about who she allows into her life. Her sense of self-worth serves as a guide, enabling her to cultivate relationships that encourage her growth and help her thrive. She does not seek popularity or the illusion of maintaining a wide social circle. Instead, she values depth, genuine connections, and authenticity in her relationships. A woman who understands her worth possesses a rare and remarkable strength that allows her to stand resolutely in her values, no matter the challenges she faces. She remains steadfast and is not easily influenced by the opinions of others or by the external pressure to conform to societal expectations. Her strong sense of self-respect empowers her with the bravery to say no when it is needed and to remain steadfast in upholding her personal convictions and principles. She understands deeply that her ultimate purpose is not to seek the approval of people, but to dedicate herself to pleasing God above all else. Her aim is not to blend seamlessly into the crowd, but rather to live authentically according to her calling, honoring her true identity and faithfully walking the unique path that God has prepared for her. Reflect on the inspiring story of Queen Esther, a woman of incredible courage and faith. She willingly put her life on the line when she stood before the king, not out of self-interest, but to fulfill a purpose that was far greater and more significant than her own personal gain. She understood that her worth was not derived from her royal title or the opinions and approval of those in her court or her surroundings. Her true worth was firmly rooted in the divine purpose that God had placed on her life. This knowledge became the source of her strength, empowering her to take bold and courageous actions, even when the risks and stakes were at their highest. Similarly, a woman who understands her worth will never settle for anything less than what fully aligns with her deeply held values and the calling she knows God has placed on her life. She is willing to tread a solitary and sometimes difficult path if that is what is required for her to live authentically and remain true to her identity as a follower of Christ. Her strong sense of self-worth serves as her compass, guiding her to make choices and decisions that reflect her truest self and align with her faith. This profound understanding of her worth compels her to prioritize taking care of herself, not just physically, but also mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, ensuring her well-being in every area of her life. She makes self-care a priority in her life, not because of vanity or self-indulgence, but as a meaningful way to honor the immense value that God has placed within her as His creation. She views herself as someone who is fully deserving of respect, inner peace, and genuine love, recognizing these as integral to her identity as a child of God. As a result, she intentionally dedicates time and effort to invest in her overall well-being, ensuring she thrives in every aspect of her life. She has come to understand that caring for herself is not just a responsibility, but also a beautiful reflection of her gratitude for the precious life that God has entrusted to her. When a woman truly grasps her worth, she no longer searches for it in the fleeting approval or opinions of others around her. Instead, she discovers her worth in the presence of God, finding quiet assurance in the truth that she is already enough, exactly as she is. She no longer feels the need for others to validate her or to provide her with a sense of importance, because she has already come to know her unshakable value through God. This understanding gives her a profound sense of freedom that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. It is a freedom that empowers her to live her life authentically, to establish healthy boundaries, and to step away from anything that does not honor her worth or align with her values. Ultimately, a woman who truly understands her worth possesses a profound and unshakable sense of identity that guides her through every aspect of her life. She remains firmly anchored in the unwavering truth that she is deeply loved by God, chosen by Him, and called to fulfill a unique and meaningful purpose in her life. Her entire life transforms into a living testimony, serving as an inspiration and example to others who observe her journey of faith and confidence. She demonstrates that true worth is not something that can be found in the opinions of people or in the fleeting pursuit of popularity, but instead in the steadfast love of God and His purpose for her life. Among the many remarkable qualities of a woman who chooses to walk alone, one of the most notable is her steadfast and unwavering trust in the guidance and wisdom of God. Without the continual input or opinions of others, and without relying on the comfort that comes from being part of a crowd, she has developed the ability to lean deeply and confidently into God for direction. She fully recognizes that even though others may often have the best intentions, their guidance can never compare to the unparalleled wisdom, strength, and clarity that come from God alone. Through her periods of solitude, she comes to the beautiful realization that God is not only her closest and most constant companion, but also the most trustworthy and reliable guide she could ever have. This kind of trust takes time to grow. It develops through periods of relying on God, times when she had to journey through uncertain, even lonely paths, yet she learned to tune her heart to hear His voice. When confronted with decisions, challenges, or times of doubt, she refrains from immediately seeking approval or guidance from those around her. Instead, she turns to God in prayer, inviting Him to lead her. The words of Proverbs 3:5-6 perfectly capture this dependence. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. A woman who relies on God's guidance does not seek constant validation from others, because she has discovered her sense of security in His presence. She knows that while people may change and situations may evolve, God's faithfulness remains unchanging. This reality instills in her a confidence that remains steadfast and secure. She believes in the goodness of God's plans for her and trusts that He will guide her steps, even when the way forward seems uncertain. During her times of solitude, she has come to appreciate and understand the vital importance of listening carefully for God's voice in her life. Life is often overwhelming, filled with endless noise, conflicting opinions, lofty expectations, and a never-ending stream of information from the fast-paced world around us. However, solitude offers her the precious opportunity to step back and create space for much-needed clarity and reflection. A woman who chooses to walk alone typically encounters fewer distractions in her daily life, giving her the ability to cultivate a heightened sensitivity to God's guidance and direction. She understands that in the stillness and quietness of her solitude, God often speaks, and she cherishes those sacred moments when she can hear His voice clearly, free from any interruptions. Her consistent practice of listening intently for God's direction instills in her a deep sense of purpose and unwavering confidence in the choices she makes. She no longer feels the need to compare herself or her journey to what others around her are doing or achieving. Rather, her attention is fixed on the work God is leading her to accomplish. She finds peace in God's unique purpose for her life, even when it differs from the journeys others are pursuing. Her faith in God is not conditional. She relies on Him not just during times of crisis or when she feels uncertain. Her reliance on God is intricately integrated into every aspect of her life. When confronted with choices, she seeks God's wisdom and guidance through prayer. When facing difficulties, she prays for the strength to endure and the peace to remain calm. Her connection with God serves as her unshakable foundation, and from this base, she draws the courage to persevere, fully assured that she is never alone. Mary, the mother of Jesus, provides a profound and inspiring example of this unwavering faith. When the angel announced to Mary that she would give birth to the Son of God, she was surely overwhelmed with uncertainty, many questions, and possibly even fear. But her response was simple and full of trust. "I am the Lord's servant," she said. "May your word to me be fulfilled." Mary did not depend on the validation or comprehension of those around her. She placed her faith in God's plan, even when it was far beyond what she could fully understand. Just like Mary, a woman who trusts in God's guidance steps forward in faith, even when she lacks all the answers. One of the most challenging aspects of trusting God's guidance is learning to place His voice above the opinions and judgments of those around us. A woman who chooses to walk alone frequently encounters criticism or misunderstanding, as her journey often appears different from what others anticipate. However, rather than conforming to the opinions of others, she remains steadfast in the truth of what she believes God has planted deeply in her heart. She recognizes that human approval is temporary and unreliable, but God's approval endures forever and carries eternal significance. The decision to follow God's leading, especially when others fail to understand, requires immense bravery and faith. Her choices might include a career, a way of life, or a ministry path that others fail to comprehend or encourage. Yet her confidence does not rest on human validation or understanding. Instead, it is firmly grounded in her personal relationship with God. She is fully aware that obeying God's will is always worth enduring any discomfort, confusion, or solitude she might encounter on her journey. Reflect on the story of Deborah, the prophetess and judge who led Israel with courage. Deborah placed her trust in God's direction, even when it required her to embrace a role that was unconventional for women in her era. She demonstrated leadership through authority, discernment, and a profound understanding of God's purpose, even when her role may have been questioned by others. Similar to Deborah, a woman who places her trust in God's guidance draws strength from the assurance that God has specifically prepared her for her divine purpose. No matter the opinions of others, trusting in God's guidance frequently involves stepping forward in faith without requiring visible certainty. A woman who decides to walk alone comes to accept this reality, understanding that God's plans often surpass her immediate vision or comprehension. She maintains faith that even in times of uncertainty, God is orchestrating events behind the scenes, ensuring that everything aligns for her ultimate good. Having this kind of faith does not mean she is immune to moments of doubt or fear. After all, she is only human. However, during uncertain times, she turns her focus to God's promises and holds tightly to His word. She believes that God's timing is flawless, that He perceives what she cannot, and that His plans are inherently good, even when they differ from what she had envisioned. Her life stands as a living example of 2 Corinthians 5:7. For we walk by faith, not by sight. She does not require a complete understanding to have confidence that God is directing her steps. A key element of trusting God's guidance is the ability to relinquish control. A woman who walks her path alone has often mastered the art of strength and independence, yet she understands the crucial need to submit to God's will. To trust in God is to release her own plans and accept His, even when His vision does not align with hers. She has come to realize that genuine peace is not found in managing every detail of her life, but in resting assuredly in the fact that God is in control. Letting go in this way is not an indication of weakness, but rather a demonstration of profound wisdom. She understands that God's wisdom far surpasses her own, and that His perspective encompasses eternity. By entrusting herself to Him, she finds a peace that is possible only through surrendering to His will. Her faith deepens as she releases control, acknowledging that God's designs far exceed anything she could achieve on her own. By relying on God's guidance, a woman discovers that her life gains a profound sense of meaning and direction. She has no need to pursue others' paths or adhere to societal norms, as her focus remains steadfast on fulfilling the calling that God has given her. Her decisions are a reflection of her faith, and she deliberately chooses how to allocate her time, energy, and love. This level of trust elevates her life from simply surviving to living a life of purpose and meaning. She approaches each day with intentionality, confident that God is guiding her every step. Her faith drives her actions, and the way she lives is a testimony to her reliance on God. She serves as an inspiration to others, showing what it means to live guided by faith instead of ruled by fear. She moves forward with unwavering confidence, assured of the one who leads her path. When a woman chooses to walk alone, her path may appear unique and even difficult, yet it is characterized by deep trust. She anchors her confidence in God's guidance, rather than relying on her own understanding or the views of those around her. Her strength, identity, and sense of purpose are all rooted in her relationship with God. She walks in faith, trusting God to design her journey, confident that as long as He is guiding her, she is precisely where she is meant to be. Ultimately, it is her trust in God that upholds her, strengthens her, and distinguishes her from others. Her strength, wisdom, and confidence come not from having all the answers, but from knowing the one who does. She firmly believes that God is directing her every move. In that trust, she discovers genuine peace, a sense of purpose, and her ultimate freedom. As we have observed, a woman walking alone possesses remarkable strength, profound self-worth, and an unshakable trust in God that makes her truly resilient. Her strength is not measured by those around her, but by the presence of the one who dwells within her. Her worth does not hinge on societal norms or the validation of others. It is firmly grounded in her identity as a cherished child of God. Her path is directed not by public opinion, but by her steadfast faith in God's wisdom and constant faithfulness. For the woman walking alone, her journey is not defined by solitude or mere independence. Rather, it is a journey marked by resilience, deep purpose, and abiding peace. It is securely anchored in her intimate relationship with God. She is never truly alone, as God is always with her, offering guidance and providing strength for every step of her journey. May this serve as a reminder to us all, whether we travel life's road alone or alongside others. Draw your strength from God. Recognize your worth through His love, and place your trust in His unfaltering guidance. Let us all find the bravery to walk forward with boldness and assurance, knowing that with God by our side, we are never truly alone.